Alright, this part of the video is going to show you how to start adding texture to the hair. So just a quick review of what we've done. We've got background, shirt color with some value, skin color, completely flat, and hair color, which is pretty flat for the most part. So now to try to make your hair look more textured, we're going to do what's called dry on dry. Now, technically, yes, the paint is not dry, but we are going to use as little water as possible. That's why it's called dry on dry. And also what you'll notice is the paper is dry. So you have to wait until your hair color dries off in order to do this next part. So I'm going to go in for my brown color, and I really don't have much water. Just enough water to really make it come to life. You're going to notice there's going to be a lot more paint than there is water. Again, you want to come up with a light source, so make sure every time you go to create value that your light source is consistent. So I'm going to start on the darkest part of the hair, which for me is going to be on the right side. I just decided the light source was coming from the left, so I'd be coming in this way, and that means everything on the right side is going to be a little bit darker. So again, just going in for mostly color. And you're going to notice it's going to be a lot more scratchy than you would do if you had water on the paper when we did that wet on wet technique. You're going to be able to create a lot of texture, and you're going to hear it become like really scratchy when you're starting to run out of water. I'm going to go back in for some more paint. And notice how I didn't even really go in for any water. I can't stress this enough. This is supposed to be a really dry technique to the point where you can actually start to pick up some of the texture of the paper. Now, if it gets to be this dry, I'll really zoom in here so you can see. That's when you know it's time to add just a little bit of water, really just a little dot of water, and then go back in to your paint after grabbing just a little dot of water. And really what you're trying to do is give the indication of strands of hair. You're not going to sit there and literally paint out every single strand of hair. It's not possible. But once you've got this first base layer down, as you start to move towards the light source, so I'm going towards the light source, now I'm going to start to add a little more water, keeping in mind that the paper itself is still dry. So the only thing that's changing is the amount of water I'm putting on my paint. So we know that more water is going to make the hair appear lighter. So that's kind of the idea. As we move towards the light source, we're still giving this indication of hair and strands of hair. The only thing that's changing is how light or dark the hair color is. So as I come over here, now we want to start showing the indication of highlights. Or on the left side, we know that the hair would be a little lighter because it's closer to the light source. That's why I'm really starting to focus on how much water do I want to use here. So I keep going back in for more water, and I just kind of want to experiment. What does it look like if I don't go back in for any color? Well, that's probably too light. So I still need a little color here. I'm going back through. I'm trying to spread this out so that there is a clear difference between the dark part of the hair and the light part of the hair. Really trying to show that you were trying to think about value. And then as I get to this side of the hair, it's really going to be a lot lighter than that side of the hair. So again, just kind of coming in and thinking about how can I make this side still have texture but not be as dark as over here. Kind of give a real sense of one side is really darker. You know, if you have really short hair, you can kind of do this dotting technique, stippling. It's a really cool idea to get some of that texture in there. Is just kind of the stippling. Kind of gives the indication of hair, but not so overpowering as it is on this side. Because we really do want to show one side should be clearly darker than the other. And think about the word gradual. How can I make it gradually go from dark to medium to light? If I want to lighten it up, I might just go back in for more water. So now I'm just going in straight up water. And so as I wet this entire area, I can take away if I want to by using a dry brush. So now I'm going to use a brush that has not even been used yet. And what's going to happen is it's going to start to take away. Anytime you use a dry brush, it is going to take paint away if the paint is wet on the paper. And the rest of this I'm going to touch up with a Sharpie. So really focus on texture, how can I create the indication of strands of hair, and how can I make it go from dark to medium to light as you move across the top of the head.